Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Well, there we have it, boys and girls. 2018 is done and dusted. We had one of the best Royal Rumbles in years, one of the worst pay-per-views in years just a few months later, all that Survivor Series nonsense, the debut of Ronda Rousey, and even a 10-year-old child won the Tag Team Championships. It's been an odd year to say the least. But I'm done with 2018. It can go get in a bin or something. I want to hear about 2019 rumors. Lay them on me. Oh, what's that? Oh, you want me to tell you what they are? Oh, fair enough then. Here are 10 WWE rumors for 2019 that you need to know. Number 10, the Elite are coming. Honestly, it's the biggest rumor every year that Kenny Omega and chums will be trading in their New Japan contracts for a spot in NXT or WWE. However, this year the rumors are more intense than usual due to a number of factors. Take your pick from WWE wanting to prevent another All-In, to WWE wanting to hurt New Japan and ROH by plucking the top ready-made North American stars, to the fact that the Elite have collectively said they will stick together and will be making a big decision on their future in early 2019. Of course, the talk of the town is that the group are going to form their own full-time wrestling promotion, All Elite Wrestling. But a big enough money offer from WWE, who, let's face it, could pay them all $10 million a year each and not even notice, could yet tempt them to change their minds. Seeing how this situation plays out will be one of the most intriguing stories of the first quarter of 2019. Number 9, several wrestlers to leave WWE. According to our sources within the promotion, there are a number of talent unhappy in WWE who are looking to leave when their contracts expire. Glance up and down the roster and see who gets no airtime, gets misused or undervalued, and some of the names will become self-evident. WWE rarely lets talent leave these days due to a fear of them becoming bigger stars elsewhere, as was the case with Juice Robinson, Cody, Drew McIntyre, and plenty of others. But when contracts expire, there is nothing WWE can do if people want to explore new avenues. There is also a chance that some talent will be released, as it's been a long time since WWE trimmed the fat of its roster. For the last couple of years, there has been NXT call-up after NXT call-up, with few ever leaving the promotion. They simply just disappear into oblivion. And simple math. That may change in 2019, although it largely depends on the business moves made by promotions outside of WWE. Ring of Honor are ramping up its crew with several new full-timers coming in, AEW will be desperate for talent, and WWE are unlikely to let many leave when there are so many viable options out there. Keep an eye on this one. Number 8, Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey to headline WrestleMania. WWE are going to headline WrestleMania 35 with a women's match. That much has been known since Mania 34. But it's going to be a different matchup to the one they've been planning for the past several months. Becky Lynch's pre-Survivor Series charge against Ronda Rousey on Monday Night Raw was described by many as her Austin 3:16 moment. Becky came across as the biggest star in the entire wrestling game that you could feel the seismic shift as her popularity increased even further. However, that was not the only Austin-esque moment that Lynch had in that segment. As everyone knows, Lynch suffered a broken face at the hands of Nia Jax during the angle, which caused her to miss her Survivor Series match against Ronda Rousey. That meant Charlotte Flair was bundled into the spot in her place, giving away what had been previously rumored to be the WrestleMania 35 main event. Now, with Becky's popularity ever increasing, it seems WWE have changed their minds and now want to headline the show of shows with the first ever meeting between Lynch and Rousey. Becky's injury has ended up putting her in an even better position than she would have been otherwise. You know, the same thing that happened to Austin in 1997 when he broke his neck and couldn't wrestle. WWE did not want to take him off TV, so he was just kept around to deliver stunners to everyone in sight, including most famously Vince McMahon, which catapulted him from superstar to megastar. Number 7, WWE network changes. This one is more of a case of when rather than if, as proposed WWE network changes have been in the works for a long time. Earlier this year, it was reported that Vince McMahon was personally overseeing a network overhaul, which would see changes to pricing and the introduction of tier systems. The network changes are also expected to lead to the long-reported arrival on the medium of WWE's indie partner groups such as Progress, ICW, Evolve, WXW, and others. In addition, there is expected to be a host of bespoke content, some of which has already been trialed, such as House Hardy. Another concept that was trialed recently was airing WWE weekend house shows on the network, which happened with Starrcade in November. Well, you know, an hour of it at the very least. This was all part of Vince McMahon's strategy to fix the promotion's live event woes, with that particular department losing the company money for the first time in over 2 decades, according to WWE's latest quarterly financials. When the changes come, we will all have a good moan about it, but for what fans will get for that extra price, it will almost certainly be worth every penny. Number 6, NXT Germany and Saudi Arabia. WWE made waves 2 years ago with the creation of WWE UK, which has since been morphed into NXT UK and has become a weekly television treat on the network. And in a few weeks' time, the promotion presents its first ever NXT UK takeover event, which sold out almost immediately. The long-term strategy for WWE is to grow NXT into several international, regional promotions, with NXT brands set to launch in Germany, Saudi Arabia, Japan, South America, and Australia as time goes on. Germany and Saudi Arabia appear to be the closest to happening next, according to several sources. WWE held a massive tryout session in Germany recently with over 50 names from the German wrestling scene in attendance, which is believed to be the precursor to WWE signing up talent from the country for the proposed brand. Similar tryouts have happened on the 2 occasions WWE have ventured into Saudi Arabia, although the launching of an NXT Saudi Arabia brand is perhaps less likely in the current political climate, considering the backlash WWE received from its audience and the mainstream media for going ahead with Crown Jewel. Still, that show went ahead, so WWE just may not care. Number 5, SmackDown becomes the A show. I mean, if you ask YouTube comments, they'll tell you that SmackDown is already the A show, but WWE don't see it that way. However, SmackDown's move to Fox this coming October will have several implications for the Blue brand, with reports coming out that Fox wants the program to be more sport-orientated and less reliant on silly gimmicks and storylines. While the prospect of SmackDown becoming WWE's answer to New Japan seems far-fetched, no doubt changes will need to be made to the show in order to ensure that it hits the fairly high target of 3 million plus viewers per week that it needs to be considered a success. One of the ways WWE can do this is by ridding SmackDown of its long-held status of being the B show and turning it into the premier broadcast that the promotion puts out. To do that, the major stars will need to defect to Team Blue. That means the likes of Ronda Rousey, Braun Strowman, a returning Roman Reigns, and no doubt several McMahons could be on SmackDown in 2019 rather than Raw. Because we all know that when WWE is looking for ratings, the heel McMahon authority figure is their default go-to trope. Yippee. Number 4, 2 WrestleManias? Some may think that the idea of 2 WrestleManias is sacrilege, but in the world of pro wrestling, money talks. If WWE received the right offer, Saudi Arabia, then there is no doubt they could be persuaded to offer a second WrestleMania in 2019. After all, they did it for the Royal Rumble without blinking an eye. One of WWE's new corporate buzzwords is global localization, which it was reported extends to the promotion taking some of its established concepts to far-flung reaches of the globe, which means we may even get a WrestleMania here in the UK, likely with a gimmick name. I don't know, the Royalist WrestleMania or something. I'm just spitballing ideas, I'm sure they'll come up with something better. Number 3, a return to Saudi Arabia. Like it or not, WWE have a 10-year deal with Saudi Arabia and will be returning to the country on a bi-annual basis for the foreseeable future. Anyone thinking that the company would have been put off by the negative response it received with Crown Jewel, think again. If the Khashoggi case and the public outcry that surrounded it was not enough to change their minds, then it's likely nothing will. What form those Saudi shows will take is unclear, however. Greatest Royal Rumble and Crown Jewel could well be annual fixtures on the WWE calendar, with inflated rumbles and farcical tournaments becoming the norm. Or maybe the Saudis want a different concept. Greatest Survivor Series perhaps, or I don't know, Greatest Taboo Tuesday, though I'm not sure the Fulfill Your Fantasy match will go down that well over there. Maybe Greatest Great Balls of Fire? Number 2, Drew McIntyre wins the Universal Championship. In the world of WWE, where 50-50 booking is the norm and no one is protected, one man stands head and shoulders above the rest as the glowing exception, Drew McIntyre. Since returning to the main roster shortly after WrestleMania, Drew has been one of the most watchable acts on Monday Night Raw. He's also been well protected by WWE, never tasting defeat via pinfall until the December 3rd Raw. And he's had huge wins over some big-name opponents in an effort to groom him as a WWE Universal Champion of the future. And that future may very well be in 2019. At a time when WWE is desperate for new stars to step up due to its current injury crisis, Drew looks like the safest bet in the entire promotion. If WWE keep him strong, he can be an incredible champion for them. What a meteoric rise for the man who just a few short years ago was messing around in 3MB and was cut from his contract from WWE because they did not know what to do with him. And number 1, Vince McMahon stepping aside to run the XFL. One day, WWE will no longer be under the watchful eye of Vince McMahon. That's just a fact. When that day will be is the unknown aspect of that statement. But It could be sooner than you think. Vince has apparently been taking an increasingly reduced role in WWE business as of late. He was not present for the signing of WWE's biggest ever deal, the aforementioned Fox TV contract, and he has handed over control of many elements of the company to his son-in-law Triple H, such as the running of 205 Live, producing some pay-per-views including Evolution, and of course the entire developmental infrastructure. The relaunch of the XFL has been announced for 2020, and as it gets closer and closer to kickoff, it's inevitable that McMahon will dedicate more of his time to that venture. He's already sold a lot of his WWE stock to fund the league, and there is even a chance he will voluntarily step down from WWE and allow Triple H and his team to take over the everyday running of the company. This could mean sweeping changes to how WWE operates. It could result in someone else taking over the NXT brand, such as Jeremy Borash or William Regal, and an entirely different approach to television writing and pay-per-views. Kevin Dunn will likely be the first man to go. It could be a long shot, but this is wrestling, so never say never. But before all of that, we need to get to the Royal Rumble, and what are some of the rumours, returns and surprises in line for that show? Click the video on screen right now to find out. I've been Luke Owen, and that was Wrestling.